Hey guys, so I'm finally getting around to recording a book haul. I've been meaning to do this for ages, but if I've been honest, I just haven't felt like recording very much. So here I am. So the first book that I'm going to show you is this, and it's The Making of Outlander, the series official guide to seasons 3 and 4. I have the first sort of companion book for Outlander, so I finally went ahead and got the second one. It's all just like funky pictures and how they made the series and behind the scenes stuff, but as you guys know, I love Outlander, so I had to pick that up. I also picked up similarly one for the Handmaid's Tale, and it's the art and making of the Handmaid's Tale, and again it's like behind the scenes footage of how they make it, costume design, that sort of thing. I'll show you. Yeah, so I picked that up. I think I was in the supermarket and I saw that and I hadn't seen it anywhere else, so I picked that up. The next book that I have is Last Christmas, and this is an anthology put together by Greg Wise and Emma Thompson, and they are behind the movie that's come out called Last Christmas with Emilia Clarke in, and this is just basically like a collection of anecdotes and people's thoughts and memories on Christmas. It has a lot of people in here. It has Bill Bailey, Meryl Streep, Graham Norton, Stephen Fry, Emilia Clarke, Emma Thompson herself, and then it's also got sort of like political refugees and homeless volunteers all mixed in, and it's all their sort of thoughts on Christmases past, present and future. I am reading this at the moment because I thought it was an appropriate read in the run-up to Christmas, and it is just basically each person's contribution is like 2-3 pages, so there's that. The next book that I have is War of Hearts by Samantha Young, and I actually read this a couple of months ago now I think, but I loved it so much that I had to get the physical copy of it, and I just haven't done a book haul since I got it, but I absolutely love this, guys. It made me love paranormal romance again. It's just, oh my god, I love it so much. I cannot wait for the next book in this series. I actually participated in the cover reveal on Instagram for the next book in the series, Kiss of Vengeance, and I cannot wait for that book. It's going to be one of my most anticipated books of 2020. I just know it is. Another book is Saving Buddy by Nicola Aust, and I bought this one in the supermarket. I have actually already read it. It's a non-fiction book, and I think it was in my wrap-up. I think it must be October that I read it, because I read it before I lost Rosie, and basically it's about this lady. It's about a lady who rescued Staffy, who had been abandoned. He was a puppy and he'd just been dumped and he was very close to death, and she rescued him, and it's all about basically their life together and how it's basically to dispel the awful reputations that Staffordshire Bull Terriers have. They have an awful maligned reputation as a vicious breed, and they're not like that. They're like any dog. It's all about how you raise them. My dog was like a big child. She wouldn't have hurt. She didn't like other animals, to be fair, but she wouldn't have hurt a child. She wouldn't have hurt a person. She was a big softie. And I really enjoyed this book because a lot of his traits, it's like if you're a Staffy lover, basically you recognise them and the character that they have, and he's a real character, and I now follow them on Facebook. He's just so cute. So yeah, I really enjoyed that one. And then I mentioned in my November wrap up about how after visiting the Tower of London back in October, it's really sort of re-sparked my love of history, particularly the periods from the Wars of the Roses to sort of the Elizabethan age, because that is sort of the era that made the Tower of London infamous, because that's when it was really being used as a high profile prison and sort of place of torture, and a lot of key events happened at the Tower. For example, Anne Boleyn's beheading happened at the Tower. Guy Fawkes was made. Anyway, it's not a history lesson, but basically visiting there sort of re-sparked my love of history and reading around history. And so I read The True Queen by Alison Weir, and it made me want to find some more historical fiction to read. So I actually picked up books 2 and 3 in the Six Queens series. So I read The True Queen, and then I picked up the second book, which is Anne Boleyn, A King's Obsession. I picked this up used, and it's not the best edition, but yeah, there's that one. So parts of The True Queen and Anne Boleyn's book are going to overlap, but you're going to see them from a different point of view, so I'm quite intrigued. And then also I picked up Jane Seymour, The Haunted Queen by Alison Weir. So this is the third book in that series. I think the fourth book is out next year, but I thought this would keep me going for now anyway. And then I also decided to pick up 2 books by another author, Joanna Hickson, and I picked up Red Rose, White Rose. I like to say that 6 times fast. And this is obviously set during the Wars of the Roses. So this is before the Tudor period, and this is about I can't say her name, Cicely, and so she's the daughter of the Earl of Westmoreland. But yeah, it's all about the Wars of the Roses. So I'm intrigued to read that. And then I also picked up by the same author, a little bit different. This is set before the Wars of the Roses. Yeah. So this is the Agincourt Bride. So this will be interesting. I think I picked this up because I also recently watched The King on Netflix, which is about Henry V and Agincourt. So yeah, I've got a lot of history to be reading about, which I'm happy about. I might not read them all, one after the other, but they're there. And then I also picked up, I had this on pre-order actually, I picked up The Stylist C by Erin Morgenstern. I think this came out in November. I think it came out in November. So yeah, I picked up The Stylist C, and I loved The Night Circus. I know it was a very popular book on BookTube, and I know some people loved it, some people didn't. I loved it. I thought it was a very atmospheric, very beautiful read. It was magical. Loved it, and I've been waiting for Erin Morgenstern to release something else. So now we have The Stylist C, and how beautiful is this book? Like, it's just beautiful. So yeah, I'm glad to have that. I don't know when I'm going to get to it, but I am glad that I have it. And then the last book that I have for this book haul is Heidis Lifeline by Heidi Laughlin. I'm terrible at pronouncing names. But basically, we had, at my new job, we had an end of year presentation. So we went to like a hotel and a big conference room thing, and they like put on entertainment, and we had a guest speaker, and Heidi Laughlin was our guest speaker, and she's a cancer blogger, and I just found her very, very inspiring. She had such a great sense of humour, but I could have listened to her speak for hours and hours. And then when she said at the end of like her guest speaking that she'd be selling copies of her book, I decided to pick one up, and I had the opportunity to get it signed. So she signed it for me. So yeah, I'm really, really happy that I got the chance to meet her and just say hi and to thank her for speaking at the event basically. But yeah, she was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer, and it's basically about her story, and it's the fact that I was trying to explain it to people. It was almost like I was watching a stand-up comedian. Like, she was very, very funny. She had such a great sense of humour, but her story was really sad. But yeah, I decided to support her and pick up a copy of her book. So that's all the books for this time, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Happy reading.